The sun was setting as I made my way home, the day's exhaustion weighing heavily on my shoulders. I anticipated the comfort of my quiet house, the gentle embrace of my wife, Anna, and the usual tranquility that greeted me at the end of a long day. However, as I turned into the driveway, my heart skipped a beat. There, parked in a spot usually reserved for Anna's car, was a vehicle I had never seen before. A sleek, black sedan that screamed trouble. What the hell? I muttered under my breath, my eyes narrowing. A sense of foreboding washed over me. I parked my car with a screech, my mind racing with possibilities. I tried calling Anna, but it went straight to voicemail. Anna, where are you? Call me back, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Stepping out of my car, I approached the house, my steps hesitant yet determined. The front door was unlocked, a fact that did nothing to quell the growing storm inside me. I pushed it open, the silence of the house greeting me like an ominous whisper. Anna. I called out, hoping for an answer, praying for an innocent explanation. As I ventured further, the sight of clothes scattered haphazardly on the living room floor made my heart sink. Men's shoes, not mine, and a woman's dress, unmistakably Anna's. My world began to spin, a maelstrom of confusion and disbelief taking hold. I climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last, my mind screaming for it all to be a mistake. Reaching our bedroom door, I paused, my hand trembling on the knob. The muffled sounds from within confirmed my worst fears. With a deep breath, I pushed the door open. The scene before me was like a knife to the heart. There, in our bed, lay Anna and a stranger, their naked forms intertwined in a grotesque parody of intimacy. Anna. My voice was a roar, the sound of my heart shattering. She jolted awake, her eyes wide with shock and fear. The man beside her stirred, confusion etched on his face as he took in the sight of me standing there, my world collapsing around me. Who the hell are you? I demanded, my voice laced with venom. The man scrambled for words, his mouth opening and closing, but it was Anna who spoke first. Please, it's not what it looks like, she pleaded, her voice a desperate whisper. Not what it looks like, I echoed, incredulity and rage warring within me. How could you do this to us, Anna? The room was thick with tension, the air charged with betrayal and heartbreak. As Anna began to cry, her words tumbling out in a frantic apology, I felt a cold resolve settle over me. The life I knew, the woman I loved, it was all a lie. And in that moment, I knew nothing would ever be the same again. The betrayal before my eyes was a visceral blow, the kind that hollows you out, leaving the shell where a heart used to be. Anna's tear-streaked face, the stranger's bewildered gaze, it all melded into a grotesque tableau that would haunt me for eternity. My marriage, my trust, my entire world lay in ruins at my feet. Anna, how could you? The words left my lips, a mix of a whisper and a wail, choked by the betrayal that tightened around my throat. I don't know. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake, she sobbed, clutching the sheet to her chest as if it could shield her from the magnitude of her actions. A mistake. I echoed, the word bitter, laughable even. You call this a mistake? My gaze shifted to the man, who was now hurriedly trying to dress, his movements clumsy with haste and fear. And you? Who the hell are you? He paused, his shirt half-buttoned, meeting my eyes for a fleeting second before looking away. I'm Michael. Michael Johnson. I work with Anna. Look, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I'm so sorry, man. Sorry? The word was a spark to my already simmering rage. You invade my home, defile my marriage, and all you have to say is sorry. Anna's pleas for calm went unheard as I advanced on Michael, my every step fueled by a yearning for retribution. He backed away, hands raised in a futile attempt at defense. Please, let's just talk about this. We can sort it out, Anna implored, her voice breaking. Sort this out? I spat out the words, incredulous. How do you sort out betrayal, Anna? How do you fix this? I gestured to the shattered remains of our life together, the love we had built over years, now tainted by deceit. The room was thick with tension, a tangible entity that seemed to suffocate all reason and understanding. Anna's cries filled the space, a lament for what was lost, while Michael stood silent, his earlier apologies dying on his lips. In that moment, the reality of my situation settled in with crushing clarity. My marriage wasn't just strained or troubled. It was shattered beyond repair. The woman I had loved, the person I had trusted most in the world, had turned my life into a lie. I want you out, I said, my voice eerily calm amidst the storm of emotions raging within me. Both of you, out of my house. Now. Anna's protests were drowned out by the sound of my heart breaking. As they scrambled to gather their belongings, a part of me wished this was all a nightmare, a cruel illusion. But the pain that gripped me was all too real, a constant reminder of the betrayal that had torn my world apart. As the door closed behind them, the silence of the house enveloped me, a mocking reminder of the solitude that was now my reality. The shattered illusions of my perfect life lay in ruins, and I was left to pick up the pieces of a heart I wasn't sure could ever be mended. The door clicked shut, the sound echoing in the empty house like the final note of a somber symphony. I stood there, rooted to the spot, the aftershocks of the confrontation reverberating through me. The betrayal was a tempest, a whirlwind of emotions that raged with relentless fury, tearing at the very fabric of my being. In the deafening silence that followed, the memories of Anna and me, of happier times, played like a cruel joke. Each laugh, each kiss, each promise now tainted by the shadow of deceit. The pain was a physical entity, a specter that clung to me, whispering words of despair. I wandered through the house, each room a mausoleum of our shared life. The pictures on the walls, the furniture, even the very air seemed to mock me with reminders of a love that had turned to ash. It was in the midst of this aimless journey through my own personal hell that the phone rang, shattering the silence like a gunshot. I stared at it, the sound alien and intrusive. After several rings, I picked it up, my voice a mere husk of its former self. Hello. Hey, it's me, came the voice, so familiar yet irrevocably altered in my ears. Anna. Her name was a wound, fresh and bleeding. What do you want? The words were cold, detached, a defense mechanism against the onslaught of emotions her voice evoked. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry, she said, her voice thick with emotion. I know it doesn't change anything, but I need you to know that. Sorry? I repeated, the word tasting like bile. Your apologies mean nothing to me now. You've destroyed everything, Anna. How could you be so selfish? I don't know. I was lost, confused. It's no excuse, I know. I hope one day you can forgive me, she whispered, the plea hanging between us like a specter. Forgiveness. I can't even look at you without feeling sick. You've taken everything from me, Anna. My trust, my love, my future. How am I supposed to move on from that? I wish I had the answers, I really do. All I can say is I'm sorry, and I'll do whatever it takes to make this right, even if it means letting you go. The finality of her words struck a chord, a painful realization that this was indeed the end. There was no going back, no miraculous healing of wounds so deep they seemed to touch the soul. Letting me go is the only thing you can do for me now, I said, the finality in my own voice surprising me. Goodbye, Anna. Hanging up, I felt a strange mix of relief and desolation. The call, though painful, was a necessary severance, a closure on a chapter of my life that had ended in tragedy. The tempest of emotions still raged, but amidst the chaos, there was a glimmer of something new. Not hope, not yet, but the faintest hint of acceptance, a realization that the storm would eventually pass, and I would be left standing, battered but not broken. In that moment of solitude, I made a silent vow to rebuild, to forge a new path from the wreckage of my shattered heart. The journey would be long, fraught with challenges and moments of despair, but I would face them head on. For now, though, I allowed myself to grieve, to feel a full extent of my loss, knowing that it was the first step toward healing. In the weeks that followed, the raw edges of betrayal began to scab over, leaving a hardened layer of resolve in their place. The tempest of emotions had settled into a cold, calculating determination. If my heart was a fortress, betrayal had breached its walls, and now revenge was the architect of its reconstruction. My thoughts often wandered to Anna and Michael, the architects of my pain. The idea of revenge was a bitter seed that had taken root in the fertile soil of my wrath. It grew, fed by the dark fantasies of retribution that danced in my mind during the sleepless nights. It was during one of these restless evenings that a plan began to take shape, a way to make them feel a fraction of the pain they had inflicted upon me. The idea was simple yet diabolically satisfying: to infiltrate their lives as they had mine, to sow discord and mistrust, to watch from the shadows as their world crumbled. I began by reaching out to Michael under the guise of forgiveness, a ploy that was met with relief and gratitude. "Hey, Michael, it's me," I said when he answered, my voice steady and devoid of any hint of the storm raging within. "Man, I'm surprised to hear from you. I thought after everything that happened." His voice trailed off, uncertainty lacing his words. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," I interrupted, cutting to the heart of my deceit. "And I realized that holding on to anger isn't going to change the past. I want to move on, and I think forgiving you is a step in that direction." The relief in his voice was palpable. "I can't tell you how much that means to me. I'm so sorry for everything. We should meet up, talk things out in person." "I feel like it would help me find some closure," I suggested, laying the trap with a practiced ease. "Absolutely, man. Whatever you need, just name the time and place." The meeting was set, and the first piece of my plan was in motion. As I prepared to face Michael, I steeled myself against the onslaught of emotions that threatened to undermine my resolve. This wasn't about healing. It was about retribution. Our meeting was cordial, a facade of civility that masked the undercurrents of tension. We spoke of forgiveness and moving forward, but my words were hollow, a means to an end. "I'm glad we could do this," Michael said as we parted ways, a sentiment echoed with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. "Me too," I replied, the taste of the lie bitter on my tongue. "Take care, Michael." As I walked away, the weight of my actions pressed down on me. This was just the beginning, the first step on a path that promised satisfaction but threatened to consume me in its darkness. The taste of revenge was sweet, yet it left a lingering aftertaste of doubt. Could I really go through with this? Was the price of their suffering worth the cost of my soul? The battle between my desire for vengeance and the remnants of my conscience raged within me, a war with no clear victor in sight. Yet, as I moved forward with my plan, a part of me reveled in the thought of retribution, a dark whisper that urged me on, promising justice for the heartache I had endured. The taste of revenge was intoxicating, a dangerous elixir that promised to heal even as it poisoned. And I, driven by the scars of betrayal, was all too willing to drink deeply from its cup. As the days turned into weeks, the initial rush of my vengeful plans began to wane, replaced by a gnawing sense of unease. The seeds of discord I had sown between Anna and Michael had taken root, their relationship visibly strained by mistrust and doubt. Watching from the shadows, I realized the cost of my revenge was not just their happiness, but my peace of mind. It was during this time of introspection that I received an unexpected call from Anna. Her voice was a ghost from the past, haunting and familiar. "Hello," I answered, my voice guarded. "It's Anna. Can we meet? There's something I need to say to you, face to face," she said, her tone serious, almost urgent. The thought of seeing her again stirred a maelstrom of emotions, but curiosity, and, I had to admit, a lingering spark of something undefinable, compelled me to agree. All right, tomorrow, at the old cafe where we used to go, I replied, setting the stage for what I anticipated to be our final act. Sitting across from Anna the next day, I was struck by the changes in her. The vibrant, carefree spirit I had fallen in love with seemed dimmed, weighed down by regret and sorrow. I wanted to see you because I owe you an apology, she began, her eyes not meeting mine. Not just for the affair, but for everything that followed. I've been so wrapped up in my guilt and selfishness that I didn't see the true extent of the damage I caused. Her words were a balm to wounds I hadn't realized were still festering. Why now? I asked, the question laced with years of pain. Because I've seen what my actions have done to Michael, to you, to all of us. And I've heard things, rumors that you might be, that you're not yourself. I'm worried, not just for us, but for you too. The irony of her concern wasn't lost on me. My quest for revenge had turned me into someone unrecognizable, even to myself. Anna, I've been walking down a dark path. I confessed, the weight of my actions suddenly unbearable. I thought making you and Michael pay would give me peace, but it's only left me feeling more lost. Her hand reached across the table, a tentative bridge. It's not too late to turn back. We've all made mistakes, but we don't have to let them define us. In that moment, the price of silence became clear. My silence had allowed the pain and betrayal to fester, turning into a vendetta that threatened to destroy more than just relationships. It had nearly obliterated my sense of self. You're right, I said, a sense of clarity washing over me. I don't want to be consumed by this any longer. I want to find peace, real peace. Not just the absence of conflict, but the presence of something better. Anna nodded, her eyes finally meeting mine. I want that for you too, and I'm here, in whatever way you need, to help you find it. As we parted ways, a weight lifted from my shoulders. The road to healing would be long and fraught with reminders of the past, but for the first time in a long while, I felt hopeful about the journey ahead. The price of silence had been high, a lesson learned in the harshest of ways. But in breaking that silence, in confronting the pain and the past, I had found a sliver of redemption. The path forward was uncertain, but it was mine to walk, free from the chains of vengeance and bitterness. And perhaps, in time, the price of silence would be repaid with the priceless gift of forgiveness, both given and received. The aftermath of my confrontation with Anna left me in a state of introspection. The shadows that had clouded my vision began to dissipate, revealing a landscape of possibilities that I had previously shunned in my pursuit of retribution. It was as if I had been reborn, emerging from the chrysalis of my own bitterness and resentment, ready to embrace a new beginning. It was in this spirit of renewal that I decided to reach out to Michael, the other architect of my pain, yet also a fellow victim of the circumstances we had collectively woven. Our previous encounter, masked under the guise of forgiveness, had been nothing more than a chess move in a game of my own design. This time, however, I sought genuine reconciliation. Michael, it's me, I said when he answered, the familiarity of his voice now a reminder of the bridges I hoped to rebuild. Hey, I wasn't expecting to hear from you again. Is everything okay? He asked, a note of genuine concern in his voice. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I started, echoing my words from our last conversation, but with a newfound sincerity. I realized that the path I was on, the one of revenge, it wasn't bringing me any peace. It was just perpetuating the cycle of pain. I want to break that cycle. There was a pause on the other end of the line, a silence that spoke volumes. I don't know what to say, Michael finally admitted. After everything, why? Because holding on to anger and resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's taken me too long to realize that, but I do now. And I'm sorry for my part in all of this. His response came slowly, each word measured. I'm sorry, too. I never wanted things to turn out the way they did. I guess we both got lost along the way. We did, I agreed. But I believe we can find our way back. Maybe not to where we were, but to somewhere better. Somewhere new. The conversation that followed was a cathartic release for both of us. We spoke of our regrets, our hopes for the future, and the lessons we had learned from the wreckage of the past. It was the first step on a long road to healing, but it was a step we took together, a mutual agreement to move forward, not as friends, but as two people who shared a history and wanted to make peace with it. In the weeks and months that followed, I found myself embarking on a journey of self-discovery. I reconnected with old friends, pursued new interests, and began to volunteer at a local community center, finding fulfillment in helping others navigate their own storms. It was there, amidst the clutter of paintbrushes and the laughter of children, that I met Maya. Her spirit was a beacon of light, drawing me in with her warmth and compassion. Our connection was instantaneous, a bond forged not from the remnants of my past, but from the promise of a shared future. Have you always been this good with kids? I asked her one day, watching in awe as she effortlessly calmed a tearful child with nothing more than a gentle word and a smile. She laughed, a sound that seemed to dance in the air. I guess you could say it's my calling. Everyone has one, you just have to listen closely enough to hear it. Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong all these years, I mused. Listening to the wrong voices. It's never too late to change the station, she replied, her eyes meeting mine with an intensity that took my breath away. In that moment, I knew. I had found my new beginning, not by searching for it, but by allowing myself to be open to the possibilities of life. Maya was more than just a part of my new chapter. She was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the aftermath of our darkest days, there is light to be found, love to be discovered, and life to be lived. And so, with a heart unburdened by the past and eyes set firmly on the horizon, I stepped into my new beginning, ready to embrace whatever came my way. The newfound peace that had settled over my life was not just a fleeting moment of respite, but a profound transformation that reshaped my very existence. My relationship with Maya flourished, grounded in mutual respect and a shared vision for the future. Together, we navigated the complexities of blending our lives, each day a testament to the power of second chances. However, the road ahead was not without its challenges. The scars of the past, though healing, occasionally revealed themselves, demanding acknowledgement and care. It was during one such moment that Maya and I found ourselves facing the delicate balance between moving forward and honoring the journey that had brought us to where we were. We were sorting through old photographs, a mosaic of memories spread out before us, when a picture of Anna and me caught Maya's attention. She held it up, her expression thoughtful. "This was taken during a happier time, wasn't it?" Maya asked, her voice gentle yet probing. I took the photo from her, the image a stark reminder of a life that once was. Yes, it was. Before everything fell apart. And do you ever miss it? That life? Her question was not one of jealousy, but of curiosity, an invitation to share my truths. I considered her question, the weight of my past colliding with the promise of my present. I miss the person I thought I was, the innocence of believing that happiness was a permanent state. But I don't miss the life I had, because it led me to this, to you. Maya nodded, understanding lighting her features. I think it's okay to acknowledge those parts of our past. They're chapters in the story of us, aren't they? Not to be erased, but to be accepted as part of what shapes our now. Her insight struck a chord within me, the realization that our pasts, however tumultuous, were integral to the fabric of our current selves. You're right, I conceded. It's about finding a way to integrate those experiences, to let them inform, but not dictate our future. We continued sorting through the photographs, each snapshot a piece of the puzzle that was my life. With Maya's presence, I felt a renewed sense of purpose, a clarity that had eluded me for so long. Later that evening, as we sat watching the sunset, the sky ablaze with hues of orange and pink, Maya turned to me, her hand finding mine. "What do you see on the road ahead?" she asked, her eyes reflecting the fading light. I squeezed her hand, my heart full of hope and gratitude. "I see adventure, challenges, and growth. But most of all, I see us, together, facing whatever comes our way with love and resilience." Maya smiled, her head resting on my shoulder. "That sounds like a beautiful journey. One I'm grateful to be sharing with you." The road ahead was uncertain, a path untraveled with twists and turns yet to be discovered. But in that moment, with Maya by my side, I knew that whatever challenges we might face, we would navigate them together, our bond a beacon guiding us through the darkest nights and into the light of new beginnings. As the stars began to pepper the sky, their light a testament to the enduring nature of love and hope, I realized that the road ahead was not something to be feared but embraced. It was an opportunity to build a life not defined by the past, but inspired by the promise of a future crafted with intention, love, and the unwavering belief in the power of redemption. And so, with hearts intertwined and eyes fixed on the horizon, we stepped forward into the unknown, ready to write the next chapter of our story, one filled with love, laughter, and the endless possibilities that lay on the road ahead.